Let's get straight to it. I got diamonds in the face. No, they don't walk how we walk. They don't talk how we talk. We got millions.
Real talk. What's up, everybody? Welcome into Real Talk Real Estate. I'm your host, Mark Cannon, as always. So you gotta let me know if you guys like that intro, if I need to do something different. So if I need to get something different, you should let me know. But I thought it was kind of catchy. But anyway, so we're going to get into it. You can listen to us on Spotify, or you can watch us on Spotify, or watch us and listen to us on YouTube. So either way, and we'll probably be on Apple Podcasts soon, working on that. But you guys are probably going to be listening to this around July 4th. So happy Independence Day. We live in a great country, and it's one of those that we should be celebrating that and thankful for the freedoms that we have. Anyway, so today we are going to be talking about real estate gimmicks, and I'm going to give you 5. So there are going to be 5 real estate gimmicks we're going to talk about. Now, I'm going to give a caveat. I can't talk about specific companies. I can't talk about specific people, nothing like that. All right, so I'm going to be talking about a lot of things, so bear with me through it. But I'm excited to talk about this because I actually ran into some of this, and I wanted to flesh it out. So here on this podcast format, I can actually do that and actually talk a little bit about it. So I'm not going to be showing anything on the screen or anything like that because I can't. But because with realtors, with code of ethics, we're not supposed to talk bad about other realtors or companies, stuff like that. So I'm not going to talk specifically about companies or anything like that, so do not worry. But let's define what a gimmick is, okay? And then we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into the 5. So what is a gimmick? So a gimmick, I'm reading this from the dictionary, is a trick or a device intended to attract attention, publicity, or business. And I was like, that is extremely well put, because that's literally what we're talking about today. So the biggest thing to watch for is in real estate. Listen, real estate is one of your largest assets that you'll ever deal with in your life. Why would you want to deal with someone that's doing a gimmick? And we're going to talk about these. But to me, it's... And this is where I was actually talking with one of the guys in my office. His name is Rich, and he helped me kind of come up with what I'm about to say in this phrase. And I thought it was really profound because he said part of it, and then I kind of made it into this phrase where it was, and I got to make sure I get this right. So let me pull up my notes. It's people who rely on gimmicks. Or no, sorry, I'm saying this wrong. Jeez, I'm already messing up. People rely on gimmicks when they can't rely on their value. And I thought that was profound. And Rich really gave that to me. And it's one of those that I was just like, man, that's so true, because people are going to rely on tricks or something else flashy or whatever when they can't rely on their value and what they're bringing to people. And like for me as a real estate agent, I want to bring value. I want to bring that value to people and how I do my job and also how I treat people. And it's one of those that, I want to do such an amazing job that everyone refers their friends and family to me. That's what I want to do. But there are people who are just transactional based that just want to turn and burn, and how quick can I do this? And I just want to go, and that's where they're not really looking at your best interest. So gimmicks and here's what I tell people all the time with real estate: you're going to get what you pay for. Commissions are negotiable. There's never been a set standard. It's negotiable. And I've talked about that in the real estate lawsuits and all that stuff. It has never been a set standard. People are always like, oh, it's 6%. No, there's never been a set standard. It's what you negotiate with the agent. And so that's where, if you go to somebody and they say, well, yeah, I'll just lower my commission immediately. Are they a good negotiator? Are they going to be a good negotiator for you on your transaction? If they can't negotiate for themselves, they're not going to be able to negotiate for you. Okay. So it's one of those, like, every time I go to a listing or with buyers or whatever it is, I know what my bottom line is. I know what I have to do, and I'm going to negotiate to get my goal. That's what I want to do. So it's one of those that I have to be a good negotiator. I have to be able to show that I'm a good negotiator in order for people to hire me. So gimmicks are a way for people that don't have good value to get into it. And sadly, I see a lot of newer real estate agents get into this, and it's kind of sad to me. But let's talk through the 5 of them. So the first one is the gimmick where you see people tell you that they're going to sell your house within a certain amount of days or hours or whatever it is. And we saw a lot of this in like 2021 when the market was just nuts. 2020, 2021, even beginning of 22, when the market was nuts, people really tried to grasp onto this where I'll sell your house within this amount of time. And I had to laugh because there was commercials for all different kinds of companies and stuff online, and the different websites were advertising stuff. I saw advertisements everywhere. And I thought it was interesting because they they would all do that. And then they would tell you, oh, I made people $50,000, $100,000 over asking price. Well, what did people do back in 2020 and 2021? They would, let's say the value of a house was $400,000. They would list it for $325. And then people would bid up, and it'd be at $410 or $415, $420, and they're like, we made over $100,000. No, you didn't. And you can ask my wife. I get so frustrated when I see commercials with this kind of stuff. It's just so frustrating. But yeah, it's one of those that a gimmick was, how do we get people in the door? How do we get them to just sign? Because the sad reality is a lot of people who are selling their homes just signed with people. They didn't really interview 3 agents or anything. They just said, oh, I saw that you could sell my house fast. Let's do it. Oh, you're going to make me $100,000 more. Great. And they didn't ask questions. And so that's where, that's one of the gimmicks is putting a time basis on it. We can do it fast. And I still see people now, and like we're in a more balanced market now where demand is lower. Inventory's not back to normal yet, but we're still in somewhat of a normalized market in most areas. Not all areas, because there are still very hot markets like Chandler, Gilbert, Fountain Hills right now. So, but it's one of those that we're seeing people still say they'll sell their house within a certain amount of time, and they're sitting there for weeks, if not months. And it's like, okay, come on. Don't rely on gimmicks. So that's gimmick number 1. That's putting a time frame on it. Gimmick number 2, and this one I actually had to flesh out because I actually got sent this from a lender. They sent me this article, and I was interested by it, so I actually fleshed it out. I'll talk about it here for a second. So it says the second gimmick is they will pay you to sell your house. That's right. You heard that right. An agent would pay you to sell their house. Now, this one has multiple problems. Now, is it illegal? No, it's not. It's not illegal for an agent to pay you to sell your house. But there are some problems. And so let's flesh through this. So what I did was, and again, I'm not going to talk about the website, but apparently it's somebody from like one of these TV shows on TV that they're now creating this website and advertising it. And I was just like, oh, great. That's all we need. Because I think they're starting some TV show here in Phoenix or something. And I was like, oh boy, great. But it's one of those that they were coming out saying agents are going to pay you to sell your house. So I pretended to be a seller because I own a house, and I signed up. And I said, all right, let's see what this looks like. It was pretty easy. And they sent me offers. Agents did, who were qualified within this. And I always laughed because the way they talk, this is a super experienced agent. Over half the people in there were brand new agents. Hadn't done transactions, because I can look up and see who has done transactions. And what it came out was there were people offering lower percentages, and there were people offering more percentages. And there was a wide range. And I had people offering me anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to list my house. Now, the interesting thing to me, and this is where it's the gimmick, they're paying you, and now that sounds great. Okay, awesome. But there's a couple problems with this. Number one problem is their motivation. Now, they pay those people up front. So like when you sign a contract with them, you pay them up front. And so like that money is non-refundable. Now, here's the thing that people have to understand with listing contracts. You cannot just cancel your listing contract. Most of these contracts are signed for 3, 6, 9 months. Depends on what the terms are. I think I usually do mine for 6. And that's negotiable again. But a lot of people don't pay attention to that. So let's say you sign with somebody for 6 months. And let's say they offered a low commission or whatever. They're not going to offer a buyer's commission because you don't have to. But let's say you're like, oh, I want to fire this person. You can't just fire them. It has to be mutually agreed. And that's what people don't understand. It has to be mutually agreed that you're going to fire your real estate agent. And it says that in the contract. You got to read it. So it's one of those that's something you got to watch for. Now, normally, most agents will mutually agree if you want to fire them. Okay. But there are some companies out there, and there are some agents out there, and it's becoming more prevalent where they're not. And what they'll do is they'll say, oh, you want to cancel with me? Well, that's fine. We'll put your house temporarily off market for the remainder of the contract. So let's say you're on the market for 1 month. Now you're temporarily off market for 5 months. You can't list with anyone else. That's a problem. Second problem. Okay, now that they have paid a non-refundable fee to you, let's say it's $1,000, whatever, $500. They've paid a non-refundable fee. What is their motivation? Their motivation is, I got to sell this house no matter what, because otherwise I lose that money. Well, that's not good, because now their motivation isn't in your best interest. It's just for them to make money. And people are like, well, yeah, but I want that money. Okay, but like other realtors offer other things. Like one of the things I offer to my clients, like if they buy and sell with me, I clean their new house. And listen, that's not cheap. That can cost a good amount of money to have a house cleaned like that. And then there's other things I do as well that if you want more info on that, reach out to me. I'll talk to you about what I offer my clients. But like there's different things that people do to bring value. It's not just, I'm going to pay you cold hard cash. And so their motivations are going to be off because now they don't want to lose that money they've spent. It's non-refundable. And well, crap, like I got to get this sale closed. And now their motivation is get the sale, which let's say an offer comes in low. Hey, you know what? This is a pretty good offer. Let's take, like now it's like, whoa, now there's conflicts of interest here. And that's not good. So, and again, this is a gimmick because it's people just trying to get in front of people and you have no idea what kind of agent you're getting. And it's one of those that, yeah, like I got tons, I think I had like 10 offers from different agents. And like, I always loved, they were like, they're local to you. No, they weren't. Like most of those people were not local to me. So I found it interesting, but again, it's a gimmick. It's to get in front of people. And sure, people go, well, that sounds great. I'll get money. But like, especially like some of the agents that were offering lower commission, again, I'm not going to talk about numbers, but they were offering lower commission numbers. To me, I'm sitting there going, okay, right now in this market, and I talked about this, I think one of my other podcasts that I don't know if it's been released or not, but we'll see. But like one of the other things that people don't realize is that, okay, like let's say you sign with somebody and you're not getting any showings because you didn't offer a buyer agent's commission, which you don't have to. Well, that person's just sitting there waiting to bank on it that you're going to change what the terms are and everything. So like they were just trying to get in the door. To me, that's sneaky. They're not being upfront about everything. So yeah. So that's number 2. Number 3, they guarantee the sale. Now, I don't see this as much anymore, but it does where somebody else say, I guarantee you I'm going to sell your house for this much. Like, I'm sorry, you can't guarantee anything. Like, that's one of the forms we literally sign is that the market can change at any time. And like, you can't know that. Now, unless you want to lowball by $200K, yeah, you'll guarantee that. Some investor will come in. But yeah, no, like a guarantee sale, no. Like, you can't guarantee the sale. You shouldn't be doing that. That's a gimmick. The 4th gimmick, and I see this one a lot. Usually when we see like, excuse me, like houses sit for long periods of time, it's because either one of two things. Either the client overvalues their house and priced it too high, or the agent did. It's one of those two normally, if we see them sit longer than normal. And that's probably a 50-50 split, to be honest with you. But like inflated, like people will come in, they want the sale. So what do? They like, let's say your house is worth $450,000. They'll come in and say, I think it's worth $480, $475. And you're like, whoa, that's more than other people told me. Man, that's great. Let's do it. And listen, anybody can find stats just to solidify what they want. Like I've seen people do it. And I've said, listen, like I've been on the buy side. And I'll tell the listing agent, I don't think your house is going to appraise. And here's why. And I share the comps with them. They're like, no, it's going to appraise. And guess what? It didn't appraise. That's happened several times for me. So it's one of those that agents will do that just to get the listing. Then, we'll just lower the price over time. But then you're chasing the market. You end up losing out on more money because you're chasing the market. People think there's something wrong with your house because it's been sitting so long. So it doesn't help you. It's not in your best interest. It's in their best interest to keep the listing and get paid. So that's not in your best interest. So inflating the price, making you think it's worth more than it is, that's why you should be asking questions about comps that are coming in, right? So last one, and I hate this one. They always say, I already have buyers for you, or I have a big database, or I have a big team that supports me. To me, it's just like, no, guys, like that's not, first of all, maybe it's true that they have buyers, but do they really? Like, I would want to know that up front, and like they have to prove it. And listen, if they do, great, awesome. But a lot of times they don't. Or I have a big database, I'll email everybody. Everybody does that, okay? And it doesn't mean it's going to get a sale. So that's the thing is with that one, they're just trying to get in front of you. And again, most gimmicks is what the definition was just it's an advertisement to get in front of you. It's flashy. Look at me. I didn't put it in the 5, but like another one that you always see is like the ads on TV where it's like, I'll buy your house cash, no questions asked or whatever. Well, they're investors. They're going to lowball you. Like they're not going to give you market value. So you need to know that. They make, again, gimmicks are things that sound too good to be true a lot of times. And a lot of times they are too good to be true because then people go, I regret that. You get what you pay for. That's something you got to always realize. In real estate, you get what you pay for. And I'm not saying you need to pay 10% or some crazy number in commission. you should negotiate. You should come to a number. But like if people can bring you value, great. Like that's the thing is in today's market, not even in real estate, like when I look to hire somebody, I want value. I'm not always looking for the cheapest thing, especially, like you always think of like, whether it be with medical things, this is the one I hear the most is, like when you're looking for a doctor, are you looking for the cheapest doctor or the best doctor? Right? Because the cheapest doctor may not turn out so great, but you want someone who's good, they bring value, they know what they're doing. You should want the same thing in real estate. You should want someone who knows what they're doing, is going to take care of you. And listen, yes, you do have to pay for value, but in real estate, you can negotiate it. So talk with a real estate agent. If you guys have questions about this, if you're looking to buy, sell, invest, whatever here in Phoenix, or you just have questions, whether you're in other markets, whatever it is, reach out to me. My information's below. I'm here to help however I can, here to serve. I hope this podcast was helpful with the gimmicks and everything. If you have comments in it, leave it below. I'd love to hear if you've run into any other ones or anything like that. But guys, you've been listening to Real Talk Real Estate. I'll catch you next time.